What up, guys? It's Psycho Reject. Haven't made a deck profile in a while. My last tripod got all screwy, and yeah, so had to get a new one. But this is the recent deck I've made. I'm sure everybody's seen deck profiles, but I want to put my little spin on it because I've seen a lot of. It's been topping a lot in YCSs and stuff like that, but 4 tokens because always gotta have tokens with a token based deck. So anybody wanted to see those, yada yada yada. But let's get into it. I recently played Fluffy with this deck in the new revised ruling for 2020, which is actually makes this deck so busted. But we run 2 Nidhogg Generator Boss of Ice. He's essentially stopped special summons by tributing 1 Generator card, so you just tribute your tokens, because this is a going first deck. It can also play going second, but it's a little harder to do. But it's not terrible. Then I run 2 Frody Generator Boss of Swords. He's your Regeki of the deck, but he lets your opponent draw for the amount of card monsters you destroy, which isn't terrible because the way we run this deck is we're going to benefit off our opponent drawing a lot. Then I run 2 Dovlegus Generator Boss of Iron, tribute generator to special summon a generator from your hand. And everybody knows they're all quick effects. Mardell Generator Boss of Light. She lets you search for any generator card. Really handy if you can use like World Legacy Monstrosity, which is the card we have in this deck. Get her out on the field really quick, and then use her effect to get like boss stage if you're first turn hand. 1 Helia Generator Boss of Doom. She's your Monster Reborn of the deck. Not great, not terrible. She's probably the beefiest defense as well. She's got 2,800 on defense. Naglfar Generator Boss of Fire. Run 1 of him. Can stop your generators from being destroyed, which is pretty cool. That's all for the generator cards of monsters, I should say. And I can't wait for Ignition, something like that, to come out, because we're getting the other generator, the Boss of Lies, I think it is, where he banishes cards, which is sick. But he's gonna be super good. Anyway, back to the I run this card at 2. I've seen one other deck profile that only runs Nightmare Incarnation Italy at 1, but I run him at 2 because he stops your card or your level 9s from getting destroyed by a card effect. I run 3 Lone Fire Blossoms, pretty standard, to get out our Boss of Light. And that's it for our monsters. For spells, we run 3 Generator Boss Stage. For people that don't know what it does, you get to special summon a generator card when your opponent adds a card to their hand, or from their deck to their hand. Doesn't matter if they're searching for a card, if they're drawing said card, even during the draw phase. So like you set up for first turn and then they draw, and then you special summon a generator card and tokens on their turn. But if they just add a card on your turn, then you can special summon a token, or special summon 1 monster, I'm sorry. 1 terraforming, because terraforming. Then we run 3 generator boss quests. It lets you search out 2 generator spells or traps by showing 1 generator monster, then putting it at the bottom of the deck after you get your spells or your traps, which I usually just go into the generator terraforming, which is a trap card, and the generator boss stage, just in case if I do use it. There's some other stuff you can go into, but that's just my go-to. I run 1 card destruction because that's my tech card, because I got Fluffy with it. For those of you that know Fluffy and have heard him in some of my other videos, He had one card in his hand, and I had 4 or so. And I got to, I got that one card that actually could have screwed me over out of his hand just to give him something crappy, just so I could end him in that turn. 2 Twin Twisters, because everybody has back row, especially this deck if we need to destroy something, which we usually don't. Then 3 Called by the Graves, because getting Ash sucks. 3 Dark World Dealings, because I don't have Pot of Extravagance, and I probably never will, because I'm not about to spend a butt ton of money on it. 3 War Legacy Monstrosities. You get to special summon a level 9 from your hand, or you can special summon 2 level 9s from your deck that are a different type than the current level 9 on the field, and then they're destroyed at the end of the turn. You could combo that with Italy, but there's really no point because they can't attack either. So you make your XYZs, which is really good to do. Then you got your and that's it for the spells. I'm like getting ahead of myself over here. That's it for the spells, and then we got 1 Generator Boss Room. Essentially says, in response to any Generator card, you can say no once per turn and make each player draw a card. Then Generator Boss Fight, which is essentially our terraforming trap card, but your opponent draws, so its effect pops. Then you get your Generator card on the field, or boss stage on the field, and then you get your tokens as soon as your opponent draws, which is pretty nice. And the other tech card that I don't see many people run, Appropriate. If my opponent's going to draw, so am I. Then there's 3 there can only be 1s. It does hinder your tokens a little bit, but it's not terrible. And we're probably running like a budget deck, which isn't bad. So I got 3 World Legacy Awakenings. Lets you link summon on your opponent's turn. That's it for the main deck, which is pretty nice. For the extra deck, we have... I'm not even going to try to say this Generaider's card, this name for the Generator, but Generator Boss of Eternity. For every material on him, he gains 1,000 attack and defense. His effect is a quick effect, so you detach a material. Both you and your opponent draw a card, which also pops with Appropriate, so you get to draw 2 more cards. But your opponent and you have to either add a card from the field or from your hand to this card as a material. So it's essentially a -1, or it's essentially +2. It's +2, which is pretty nice. 3 True King of All Calamities, because why wouldn't you? Nice little negate on board. I run 2 Infinitrack Earth Slicers. Apparently I'm having a slur. I'm also doing this really late at night, but figure this is the only time it's kind of quiet around here. But he is essentially another Regeki on the field, and when he destroys your opponent's monster, instead of it going to the grave, it becomes a material to this, which is nice. Then I run Phantom Fortress. Enter Blathnir. He lets you just banish whatever you want on your turn only, though, not a quick effect. And that's it for the XYZs. We run a good old Surugis Gold Red. Great card for World Legacy card. Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Cerberus, Nightmare Unicorn. You know, the good old Nightmare package. Underclock Taker, which is very nice, and Barricade Board Blocker. His discard effect you don't need to use, you don't need to use to search out your spell, but you can use the discard effect just to do something with it, which is pretty cool. Most people don't know that. Well, most people that just play locally like I do don't know that. But yeah, that's pretty much the deck. Um, reason I haven't been uploading lately is because just don't have the time. Life hits you. And I know I only got a couple subscribers, but thanks for those couple subscribers. I know you guys love seeing me fail just as much as succeeding, I guess. But have a good one.